everybody. Here is the recap on today's lesson for still life, just so that you can rewind and replay in case you happen to miss anything due to internet issues or you just need a little refresher. Okay, so the first thing you want to remember is that you do need to take a picture of your still life. And here I am in my email, and you'll see I have emailed my picture to myself. So when you take your picture on either your parent's phone or your phone, you can email it right to yourself under your Huawei.net account. Once it gets to you, you're going to click on the picture, and if you look right here, you'll see a little down arrow and a little kind of triangle with a plus sign comes up. I'm going to click on my picture, and once I click on my picture, same thing again, right up here in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that there is a triangle with a plus sign, and you'll see that I'm hovering over it. It says add to my drive. So once you click that, it's going to add it to your drive. You can, of course, hit organize and put it wherever you like. But that's how you get an emailed picture that you've emailed to yourself to your Google Drive. Now, once your picture is in your Google Drive, then, of course, you have it saved. You can take it wherever you would like to take it to work on your drawing. Now, just going over to our little worksheet here that you can either choose to put your assignments in. I don't know why I popped up there, but hello. So here is where you can put your assignments on. If you want to attach your work to this slide, you simply insert image and then click on your drive. And of course, it's going to bring up whatever pictures that you have stored there. And once I click on it and hit insert, then yes, there is my picture from today in class that I can put right on the slide. And the same thing works if you are trying to attach the photograph of your artwork to this page or to the assignment. So you don't have to use this page. Well, actually you do have to use this page because you will have to type your answer here. What 2 rules of placement or space did you use? And I'm going to put overlapping. Ooh, I spelled it wrong. Overlapping and placement. Because, of course, my objects are one over the top of each other, and on the page, they will go up higher for placement as they go along. All right, clicking over to my demo camera. Here we go. I'll make this a lot larger for you so you can see. Here is my drawing that I've been working on pretty much all day. You guys saw me working on it back and forth. Let me see if I can also call up my photograph of, excuse me a minute while I go ahead and call up my photograph. Nobody wants to see me again, so I'll click me off. There's my photograph. There we go. Of my picture, and I'm also going to put up my drawing. All right, let me make my window a little bit smaller so you will be able to see both of those things. There we go. All right, so now you got a good clear shot of my picture here and my demo cam. All right, so here is my one I've been working on. Remember, I told you you have to use 2 rules of placement, and I have in this one. I've used overlapping and I've used placement where things get up higher as they get farther away. But I've also used some other things in this as well. I used some shading, and I've also, from my bag of tricks from our 7 elements of art, I've also started adding in some textures. So let's just recap how I drew this one more time. Okay, so when we did this in class, I told you to look at the basic shapes that make up your objects. What kind of regular shapes like circles, squares, or triangles do you see? What kind of 3-dimensional forms do you see? And we said in class, if you look over here at my pencil sharpener, it's a cylinder. Same thing for my Sharpie highlighter. That's also a cylinder. We also have some different shapes that make up my little dog here. Sphere, ovals, triangles, squares. All right, so rather than thinking of your objects as actual items, think of them as basic shapes or those 3D forms that we learned about during our form element. All right, so starting off with my pencil sharpener, I'm going to go ahead and draw my cylinder, just like I did when we did the element of form. And we talked about in class how my pencil sharpener has 2 different colors. It's blue and black, but my pencil sharpener also has a shiny part, and right here in the middle, right here, is kind of a textured part. And I also talked about how with perspective, things get smaller. So the lines that I draw along the edge are closer together, but then notice how I get out towards the middle. They get a little farther apart, and then I start getting it closer together, and that already starts giving us the illusion that it is 3D. Okay, how did I draw the dog? Same way, using basic forms and shapes. So I'm starting off with a circle, and of course I erase. And I use nice triangles for his ears, and a little oval for his body, and a circle for his little tail. And now I can go ahead and put my legs on. I only see 2 legs in the photograph. Okay, and he's got his eyes and nose, and he had a little pointy hairline. Okay, so now that I have my dog drawn in there, I can go ahead and shade my pencil sharpener. Now I'm going to use a light shade of gray to fill in the whole thing first. I'm going to carefully go around my dog. And now I'm going to use my blending tool. And if, oh, that's a pen. Grab the wrong thing. I'm going to use my blending tool to go ahead and blend my gray tone so it's nice and smooth, because this is a nice smooth plastic. Once again, you use your finger or Q-tip if you don't have one of my fancy blending tools. Now, if you look at my pencil sharpener, there are some parts that are a little bit darker because of the reflection that might be cast. So I'm going to put a little bit of darker stripe here. Looks like there's a little bit of darker part there. Maybe another line there. And of course, my little dog looks like he casts a shadow onto it as well. I use my little blending tool. Okay, so already I'm getting a 3-dimensional looking pencil sharpener, but I'm not going to forget that my pencil sharpener casts a shadow on the surface it's sitting on. Now remember, you don't have to do this in black and white, although you can if you choose to. You can also do this same type of deal, the same type of process in color using colored pencils or crayons. Markers, it's a little more tricky, but can be done. Okay, so I'm just continuing to shading on my pencil sharpener. Now, my little dog, as soon as I am ready to shade him up, I'll do him next. Keep in mind, my little dog is like an off-white color. So I'm not going to shade as hard or as darkly as I did on my pencil sharpener. And the benefit of having a photograph of what you are drawing is, in case you have, a little brother or sister that likes to mess with your stuff, you don't have to worry about your stuff getting moved around while you're trying to draw and look at it. You can also take your picture with you anywhere that you need to work, so that if you set up your still life and take a photograph of it, but then you need to go work somewhere else, or you're going on a road trip and you need to go work somewhere else and you need to do your classwork in the car, well, then of course you can totally take your reference picture with you and not have to worry about keeping things in the same spot. And my little dog has a little shadow behind him, underneath him, that connects up to the pencil sharpener because he's casting a shadow on the pencil sharpener. All right, now I did show you how to draw that Sharpie marker with a basic cylinder. So I just keep going piece for piece, bit by bit. And yes, I'm using my straight edge like I talked about in class rather than a ruler, because I know not everybody might have a ruler. And you can solve that problem by just folding up a piece of paper. No lie, this is just a nice piece of paper that I folded up to make a straight edge for myself. Okay. I like it a little bit better than my metal ruler that I used for drawing when I'm upstairs on my couch. It's a little more flexible. I can move it around. If I lose it, I can make another one. No big deal. Okay, so there goes my Sharpie. And like I said in class, add all of the details. I actually drew it a little bit closer to my dog than it's in the picture, but hey, that's all right. Remember, it's about how you see and perceive things, how you are showing the viewer what you see. You're not a photocopier. You are not a camera. You're a person. You are an artist. So you're telling people how you see these things. Right? It's not your job to try and totally look like our artist Cynthia Poole, although by all means, hey, if that's what you want to work towards, I totally support that. That's an awesome goal to work towards. But for now, because you're just learning, because Mrs. Swistak isn't there to guide your hand while you're working on it as if we were in class, well then, of course, you got to try as hard as you can and do the best that you can on your own. So yeah, I'm adding a little bit of extra shadow. When I smudged, my Sharpie went away, so I'm just going to darken that back up. And of course, my treasure box that I have going on there in the background. I'm going to use my straight edge there to go ahead and start putting that in. Now, the question today from a couple people was, oh my God, I have to do the background. Yes, you should be putting some kind of background with as much of your art as possible. Okay, there are some times when you might not have to, or if you're just doing a little shading, but it is always good to set up the scene, so to speak, so the people that are looking at your artwork, whether it's me or your parents or your grandma or your brothers or sisters, get an idea of what's going on in your picture. Where is your picture at? And it also just adds to the realism. Plus, it's also part of your grade. All right, and of course, you want to make sure you duplicate things as well as you can. It's not a solid piece of wood. It is some wooden slats. Now, to borrow from my art techniques, once again, we're going to refer back to our texture worksheet. Because my little box here is made of wood, yes, you can add some textures into it. Things just don't have to be shaded and smooth. Although, yes, you can add textures where those, shading where those textures are to, again, make your items look a lot more three-dimensional. Now, as much as I would love to sit here and finish shading up and drawing my box, I do want to make the point of, yes, do your background. Make sure you put a horizon line. Now, my book that my objects were sitting on, you can see over here in the background where the angled edges of my book are. So I'm going to put those in. And I also discussed in class about putting some of this stuff in the background. Now you can see in mine, I've got several things going on. I have a curtain, it's maroon and gold. And of course, you can see my virtual learning Friday schedule there. I'm, as an artist, going to choose to just do the curtain. Draw my stripes, do a little shading. Maybe I just do part of the curtain, right? Maybe that's just empty space. And of course, you can add some shading in it to make it look, rather than just being some lines, but now it sets up a whole scene rather than just, some stuff I had to draw from art class. And I honestly think that the more effort that you put in it, the more time, the more thought that you put in it, you'll be quite impressed with how well you'll do, because you have learned quite a lot over this cycle, and you've become a more well-informed artist in how to create a really good-looking piece of art by adding different things to it, so that it becomes a full and complete piece of art rather than just, some stuff that I had to draw. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as you're done, of course, you could take your picture and attach it either to the slide or attach it to the assignment, whichever works best for you. Do remember, you do need to answer that question. Let me exit out of my camera here, and we'll go back to our slide here. Remember, you do have to answer that question here, and then you can either drop your pictures of your photograph in your assignment onto the slide, or you can attach it to the assignment in Google Classroom. Don't forget, in Google Classroom, let's take a look over there. I'll look at the assignment just to refresh your memory, and here I pop in with crazy hair. Apologies. It's been a very long day. Here it is under classwork. Oh, somebody's already turned it in. And here's what I'm looking for: your photo, the drawing, 2 rules of space used in your drawing, and using of shading and other elements of art in your drawing. So I hope this helps those of you that might need a little refresher, rewind, or replay. You have a great day. Take care.